Hey there folks, this is GreenyXI welcoming you right back to Let's Play Umineko. This is episode 135. In last episode, we saw that Burncastle is going to go up against Battler as the final game master, the final game, you know, murderers afoot. So, let's get cracking with that and see how the arc starts to go into that sort of territory. The tragedy of the First Twilight was discovered at 6 AM in the morning on the following day. Goda, who had woken up to get breakfast ready, went to check on the adult siblings who had remained in the dining hall since the previous night because of the family conference. Tell us about when you discovered the crime. The dining hall was locked up. Ooh, purple text. Of course, there's a lock on the doors to the dining hall, but they usually remain unlocked. I knocked, but there was no answer. That's when I arrived. I recommended that he tried unlocking the door just in case. When I unlocked the door with a master key, a terrifying sight awaited me inside. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, Rudolph-sama, Kirie-sama, Rosa-sama and Genji-san saw a lot of the parents. 6 people in all were lying there covered in blood. A great tumult followed. Everyone gathered in the dining hall. I don't want to remember it. The sight of all the sobbing children crouched over the corpses of their own parents. There's a chance they might have been alive still. Everyone was shaking them desperately. But it was no use. Each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents. Dr. Nanjo and I confirmed that Genji-sama was dead. Such a gruesome way to be killed. No one's going to mistakenly confirm a death, even those other than myself. It looks like all the victims died instantly. Look how happy she is. After inspecting the interior of the dining hall, we determined that all the doors and windows had been locked, making it a closed room. And nothing suspicious was found inside the dining hall. Of course, there was no one hiding in the dining hall either. Naturally. All of us are here right now. It's clear that no one's hiding. But Dad, if that's true, it doesn't make sense. 6 people were killed and the dining hall is a closed room. How could someone have killed them and escaped? I'd rather not think of it. But perhaps the servants with their master keys are the most suspicious. They killed the 6, then left and locked the door with their master keys. It's a logical theory. Eek! That's absurd! Since there was no chance of the culprit hiding inside the dining hall, it made sense to assume that the culprit locked the door after committing the murder and exited the room. It was only natural that the servants, with their master keys, would fall under suspicion. And sadly enough, none of the servants had an alibi. Then again, it wasn't only the servants. Everyone else lacked an alibi as well. Is there any way to lock up from the outside without a master key? No, there isn't. That's not enough. I'll say it with the red truth. All doors can only be locked or unlocked with a master key. Of course, it's possible to lock or unlock the doors from inside the room, even without a master key. There you have it. Any other questions? Shouldn't there be keys to each individual room in addition to the master keys? Normally, those would exist. However, they make the game more complicated, so I've eliminated them. Red truth. We'll consider master keys to be the only keys that exist. In other words, all the locks that appear in this game can only be locked or unlocked by master keys. That's what it means. It really is a simple game. In that case, we should now check the number of master keys and who holds them. Fair. There are 5 master keys total. One's held by each of the 5 servants. The keys will be managed in a special way. The servants keep master keys on their person at all times, so it's impossible for them to be stolen, handed over, or used by any human other than themselves. What the heck? Now they're sounding less like keys and more like a fingerprinting system. That's an interesting metaphor. In other words, in the world of this game, it isn't the master keys but the 5 servants themselves that can lock or unlock doors. We tried to retrieve Genji-san's master key, but had no luck. To guard against trouble later on, we destroyed Genji's master key. This was the crime of the First Twilight. The scene was the locked closed room of the dining hall. None of the servants holding master keys have alibis. Then again, no one else has an alibi either. the Second Twilight. Oh, it's going through them quick, isn't it? Is this episode going to be just the whole of the murder game? Everyone returned to the parlour to discuss what should be done next. The phones were out, so they couldn't contact the police. Was the mysterious culprit hiding away somewhere, planning to attack the next victim at this very moment? Or was the culprit in here with them, mentally sticking out their tongue and tasting the next prey? None of them had alibis, and any one of them could have been a culprit. However, that tense feeling didn't last long. By midday, everyone got tired of arguing, and they decided to take a break. Kraus and Natsui announced that they wanted to talk with each other alone and went up to the second floor. Is it going to be them too? That was the beginning, and after that, everyone went their separate ways now and then, such as to head to the bathroom or gaze at the endless rain. However, no matter how much time passed, Kraus and Natsui were the only ones who didn't return. Oh no! More parents. Calls were sent to both Kraus and Natsui's rooms using the extension phone line, but there was no answer. Something might have happened. Everyone headed to Kraus's and Natsui's rooms together, and in Natsui's room, they found Kraus and Natsui lying sprawled on the floor. Madam's room was locked. It's just like the dining hall. After getting everyone's permission, I unlocked the door. Kraus-sama and Natsui-sama lay sprawled on the floor inside the room. Dr. Nanjo checked their pulse. Then he announced that the two of them had died instantly. Correct. I confirmed both of their deaths. There can be no doubt that they died instantly. I searched all over the room, looking for a clue. In the end, I found that the windows and doors had all been locked, making it a closed room. Another closed room. We servants all have master keys, so we'll be suspected again. But have no fear. After Madam began to suspect us, we started keeping an eye on each other. All of us servants were together the whole time. All of us servants can prove an alibi for all the other servants, but they could all be doing it together. Could be all of them as a killer. Now that's interesting. So you're saying that this closed room is even more complete. In the case of the first closed room, no one had an alibi. So for this closed room, all of them have alibis. In this world, the servants themselves become living master keys. Since those servants have perfect alibis, it was impossible to lock Natsui's room. We decided to preserve the crime scene as it was. We put packing tape all over the outside of the doors and windows, sealing them. I'm sure the culprit left some sort of clue in this room. We made sure that no one would be able to enter or leave until the police arrived. Then we did the same to the dining hall. We also sealed the dining hall in the same way. We reached the conclusion that the entire mansion itself should be preserved. We also sealed the mansion itself, and all of us took refuge in the guest house. Okay. They sealed the whole mansion, packing tape on all the windows. They even used a ladder for the windows on the third floor. The game would get complicated otherwise, so I've simplified it. All the windows had steel bars on them, so it's impossible to enter or leave by them. Therefore, we'll say that they can seal the whole mansion by sealing the two doors, the front one and the back one. That is easier. Got it, that makes it easy. What do you think? Actually killing the two people in Aunt Natsui's room would be easy. Someone just had to knock and get them to open the door. However, they couldn't lock it afterwards. Only the servants can lock doors, but all the servants have alibis. At least lock from the outside. Unless the servants are all in it together. More importantly, the First Twilight does me suspicious. You think that one of the 6 who died in the dining hall was actually alive and committed the crime? It's because of Erica. I can't help but be suspicious when people are examining corpses. So you think that one of the first 6 victims was alive? Yeah. And afterwards, they killed Kraus and Natsui. Then they locked the door from the inside, hid inside the room, and found a good chance to escape. That theory does make logical sense. I'll say it in red. The culprit of the First Twilight really did kill 6 people. Then I'll take a shot with a blue truth. Here's the true nature of this closed room. The culprit locked the door from the inside, then hid in Natsui's room. Then after everyone left, they found an opportunity to escape. Sure, I'll deny that in red. The group sealed the room in at the same time they left. No culprit joined the group as they left. Also, all the seals on Natsui's room, the dining hall, and the mansion itself will not be broken. In other words, you can't use that trick where they hide under the bed and slip out later. Interesting. Let's go in Bird Castle. Thanks. This was the crime of the Second Twilight. The scene was Natsui's room, a locked closed room. This time, all the servants with master keys have alibis. The whole group, realising the dangers of being inside the mansion, took shelter in the guest house. Ah yeah, because second and third are together, aren't they? Okay. All those who took refuge in the guest house decided to hole up in there until the typhoon passed. There, if everyone watched everyone else, they should be able to prevent further crimes both from inside and outside. However, they wouldn't be able to keep it up without any breaks until the typhoon passed. Once again, their actions left a weak point open, and they were faced with yet another tragedy. Shannon-chan and Kanon-kun went outside on an errand and still haven't come back. Uh-oh. George Nissan got upset, so we all went outside to look for them. We found Shannon-chan lying there in the rose garden. Oh, poor Shannon-chan. Oh, I like Shannon. I prayed she was still alive. However, I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead. Of course, I also examined her and confirmed her death. When the two of them left, we were busy checking the locks around the guest house. So not one of us has an alibi. Me? Kill her? How could I have killed her? That's right. George Oni-chan couldn't kill her. Ooh. Later on, we learned that George Nissan alone had an alibi. At the very least, George Nissan couldn't possibly have killed Shannon. To turn it around, anyone other than George and Iki could have killed her. To prevent the culprit from using it for any mischief, we destroyed the master key Shannon-san had on the spot. At the time Shannon is killed, Kanon goes missing forever. From now on, Kanon is treated as being killed. Also, Kanon's master key is treated as being destroyed. Well, I thought it'd be rude, so I kept quiet about it. But that's what happens when Shannon dies. In other words, we can interpret this as Shannon and Kanon being killed at the same time, even though we're missing a corpse. That's right. Looks like the crimes are moving along. This was the crime of the Fourth Twilight. That was a quick one. The scene was the rose garden. There were no locks or doors. It wasn't a closed room. So the master keys were no longer a factor. Then the pace of the crimes began to accelerate. Oh nice, the Fifth and Sixth Twilights. Let's go. Everyone took shelter in the guest house. They carefully sealed all doors and windows, locking themselves in a closed room. However, several closed room murders had already occurred. Could locking themselves in a closed room do anything more than invite another tragedy? After arguing fiercely in the cousin room about finding the culprit, they decided that they should double check Nanjo, Kumasawa and Goda's testimony. And there, they learned that a tragedy had occurred once more. In both Goda-san's and Kumasawa-san's cases, such wounds would have resulted in instant deaths, I believe. Such a gruesome way to die. Like hell they could survive with wounds like this. Goda-san and Kumasawa-san are both dead, so it was all the parents before, and now is all the servants going down. Well, we have been busy, keeping a lookout and locking up and all that. Once again, none of us has an alibi. That's not true. Look. If they were killed in that way, the culprit would definitely have gotten blood spatter on themselves. But Dr. Nanjo and all the cousins have no blood spatter on them. All of us, in other words, the four cousins and Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goda-san or Kumasawa-san. In that case, it's clear that the culprit is someone other than us. I guess that someone might have snuck in, so I checked around, but the guest house was still completely locked up. Perhaps the culprit has a master key after all. That's impossible. No master keys exist anymore except the two keys on the two people who lie dead here. Since the two master keys that exist are here inside the guest house, that makes this guest house a perfect closed room. Well, since someone's dead, it obviously wasn't perfect. This was the crime of the Fifth and Sixth Twilights. The scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Gyoda's and Kumasawa's master keys were also destroyed, meaning that all master keys have now been lost. Now, no one can break into this closed room guest house. At least, that should have been the case. The Seventh Twilight. This time Dr. Nanjo was killed. Yeah, I saw that coming. He died in the entrance hall of the guest house. It was far too foolish of him to come here alone to check that everything was locked. He's dead. He's been killed. Even I can say for sure that this was an instant death. Everything's locked up perfectly. How did it happen if this is a closed room? That means the culprit is one of us. Impossible. Judging by the circumstances, Maria, Battler, George Nissan and I all couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo. In the first place, no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. And look at this. Simply put, this is proof that Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house. That means no one could kill Dr. Nanjo, right? So how was he killed? No one could answer that innocent question. This was the Seventh Twilight. Once again, the crime scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Various bits of evidence made this crime seem even more impossible. Then the tragedy reached the Eighth Twilight, the final one. By now, it was clear that holding up wouldn't keep them safe. Jessica might have chosen anger as a way to numb her fear. She flew out of the guest house in a rage, searching for the culprit that surely hid somewhere outside. George, Battler and Maria hurriedly chased after her. Then outside the building, they found Jessica lying on the ground. It was, as anyone could tell at a glance, a gruesome corpse. Poor Jessica-chan. She probably died instantly. There's no way anyone could live through this. The three of us were together the whole time. George, Nikki, Maria and I couldn't have killed Jessica. Yeah, the three of us couldn't have killed Jessica. As if Maria-chan could kill someone. Maria-chan couldn't kill anyone. Thanks. George Oni-chan couldn't kill an adult. He could kill a kid though. I don't understand it at all. What the hell's going on here? This was the Eighth Twilight. The crime scene was outside. However, the three who chased after Jessica have alibis. George, Battler and Maria couldn't have killed Jessica. So is there really someone hiding on this island apart from the Ashuramaia family? The curtain's lowered on this tale, for now. That was a very snappy sort of game. That's all for my tale. It's pretty well made. If you had a full-on reader, it'd stand up well against Beato's games. I agree there. You did a good job. Well, the real work comes from taking this, reading it, and making it worthy of proper theatre going. Still, I'm stumped. On the face of it, the culprit has to be some mysterious person outside the Ashuramaia family. And that would be the same as acknowledging the existence of a witch. We can also suspect the existence of some accomplices aiding the culprit. By the way, what was that purple text all about? A new rule? I was wondering that. I call them purple statements. It's a rule I made to make the story a bit easier to follow. Just think of the purple statements as important spoken statements. In other words, you might be able to ignore the spoken statements that aren't purple. I sort of got that, even though they hadn't said yet. Oh, well that's nice of you. Then, are the purple statements as reliable as red truth? Yes. You can think of the purple statements as having the same power as red truth. However, there's one exception. A culprit can tell lies with purple statements. I see. To turn it around, anyone who isn't a culprit can't tell lies. Purple statements. These seem to be the key to Lady Brimcastle's game. No, that's right. I'll explain the rules. The definition of culprit is one who murders. It's possible for a culprit to lie. It's possible for a culprit to lie even before committing a murder. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit. A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. A culprit must not die. A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. Purple statements are as absolute as red truths. However, the culprit alone may lie with purple statements. That's all. The definition of culprit is one who murders. Makes sense. It's possible for a culprit to lie. That seems reasonable enough too. It's possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. No surprises there. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. How convenient. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit, right? So the culprit can't make accomplices tell lies to match their version of events. Damn. My guess was that someone manufactured an alibi to cover for the culprit, but... too bad. A culprit must carry out all murders directly, by their own hands. In other words, there are no remote or indirect methods of murder like traps. A culprit must not die. In other words, they can't commit murder, form a closed room, then commit suicide inside it. Doesn't that also mean that dead people can't be culprits? That's a simple yet vital piece of information. A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. So this isn't about some mysterious stranger who snuck onto the island. The appearing characters are the same old 17 people after Kinzo's removed. No one else appears in the story, so no one else matters. Purple's statements are as absolute as red truths. However, the culprit alone may lie with Purple's statements. Now here's a troublesome one. It might be the heart of the game. Does that cover all of this game's basic rules? Besides that, I guess it's only the reader will tell no lies. In other words, outside of spoken statements, there are no lies in the narration. I could have added that stuff if I wanted, but it'd be a pain and make things complicated. So you willingly abandoned a witch's privileges. You seem quite confident. She probably plans to win despite that. That's all from me. I don't intend to give you any more hints or answer any more questions. As the observer, I'll proclaim this once again. I guarantee that it's possible to pinpoint the culprit with this information. Okay, got it. I can't wait to get started. I can't believe the two of us are going to take on the same mystery together once more. Yeah, looking forward to it. This is a real game between you and me. I recommend finding some paper and something to write with. That is, if you really intend to fight me. Is that talking to us? Because I'm not going to do it. If you do get completely stuck, maybe you should listen in on Battler and Bito's reasoning. We'll have those be hints for when you get absolutely stumped and can't move forward. Still, I'd rather fight you one-on-one. If you plan to enjoy our little duel, then try defeating me by your own power alone, without relying on hints. Okay, let's enjoy ourselves, shall we? Enjoy this game that I've created, just for you. Okay. Is that talking to Battler, or is it talking... Oh, Christ, I don't know. Are we going to have to answer questions like with Higurashi at the end? Ooh, shit. Okay, we are doing stuff. Let's get cracking then. Read again, show rules, check purple, hints, culprit select. I don't... Am I supposed to... I can't save even. I can. There we go. Let's save. No real reason why, I just think it might be worth doing. Yeah, I went on holidays between saving. That's why the dates are so different between episodes. Show rules. Let's go for that. Right. Culprit's defined as one who murders. We could just guess people. We could just go for that and just get it over with, because I'm not very good at this sort of stuff. I normally just go for the narrative, and if I normally just go for the narrative, you know, in these sorts of mysteries. I don't really try and figure it out for myself. Read again. Okay, this is why I kept this so basic, because we're going to have to figure it out ourselves. I'm not going to read through all of it again, don't worry. I just want to try and figure it out. Oh, is it actually going to go through the whole thing? I thought it might be just like a page of all the text. I don't want to go through it all again. Looks like you have to if you want to. Just load it back up there. Okay, yeah. So, it said check purple, and that's all you're going to need, isn't it? Surely. One of the culprits lying. The character. All the victims died instantly. It depends on if she's telling the truth, but I don't think she could kill people instantly either. I don't think she could bash someone over the head. I might be wrong. She's made to seem a little bit evil and, you know, psychotic, but I don't think. I think that's a red herring, maybe. Put packing tape all over the outside of the doors and windows, sealing them. Everything's locked up perfectly. There's no way she could live through this. The three of us couldn't have killed Jessica. George Oni-chan couldn't kill an adult. He could kill a kid, though. I mean, that's true. I think everything she's saying is fact. So I'm going to go back. Who else lived? There's only these three left, innit? Oh, saying that, our little cannon, he got away, didn't he? Dr. Nanjo and I confirmed that Genji-sama was dead. Kraus-sama and Natsui-sama lay sprawled on the floor inside the room. All of the servants can prove an alibi for all the other servants, so nothing wrong there, I don't think. George, no one hiding in the dining hall either. Afraid she was still alive, however. I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead. Locked up. This was an instant death. In the first place, no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. Well, they had to have, didn't they? Jessica-chan, she probably died instantly, as if Maria-chan could kill someone. Maria-chan couldn't kill anyone. I really don't know. Let's go for a hint a sec, because I want to get as much information as I can out of this. These people's statements are quite a problem. We know that this statement's important enough to be on a par with Red Truth, but they also contain the culprit's lies. Even the dumbest idiot wouldn't try swallowing a roll whole if there might be needle inside. Higurashi reference. Indeed. If we accept the purple blindly, there's no chance the truth will come to light. A roll with a needle in it. I like that analogy. Me too. This precious vital information might all be wasted thanks to that one tiny lie. Just which lines in this vast collection of purple have lies in them? Just thinking about it makes my head hurt. Then why don't we try spinning the chessboard around? Oh? What do you mean? It's simple. Forget which ones are lies. Let's concentrate on finding out which ones must be true. Are there any purple statements that we know must be true? That's what we're looking for. We'll look for people who couldn't possibly be the culprit. If we can do that, then all the purple statements are the same as Red Truth. I see. Instead of searching for the culprit, we'll start by searching for those who couldn't be the culprit. A simple and fundamental strategy. That's it. There's got to be someone, so let's look through it carefully. In other words, you've got to start from square one, huh? Let's see what they can do. Okay, so the people who died, we've been told, can't be the culprit, right? So we're going to check purple by character, and we'll go through the dead people. Eva. Well, she died too early, so there's nothing she can say. Ah, that's what I was saying about the first 6. Okay, so other people died as well. Let's have a look at Shannon. Each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents. Okay, but the liar might not. Well. After getting everyone's permission, I unlocked the door. All of the servants were together the whole time. So it wasn't a servant as a killer, but we know that. The only killer can be George, Battler, or Marie, right? Maria, I think. Canon? Dr. Nanjo and I confirmed that Genji-sama was dead. Kraus-sama and Natsui-sama lay sprawled on the floor inside the room. All of the servants can prove an alibi for all the other servants. Okay, so... yeah. Goda? The dining hall was locked up in the First Twilight. I unlocked the door with a master key. Second Twilight, Madam's room was locked. Fourth Twilight, not one of us has an alibi. We destroyed the master key Shannon-san had held on the spot. Kumasawa? That's when I arrived on the First Twilight. I recommended that he try unlocking the door just in case. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, Rudolph-sama, Kyrie... 6 people in all were lying there covered in blood. Okay. Nothing there to get out of, I think. Nanjo? He's a, you know, servantish. It was such a gruesome way to be killed. No one is going to mistakenly confirm a death, even those other than myself. Well, they might do. Why not? I confirmed both of their deaths. There can be no doubt that they died instantly. We also sealed the mansion itself, and all of us took refuge in the guest house. I also examined her and confirmed her death for the Fourth Twilight. Judging by these wounds, Goda-san and Kumasawa-san died instantly. I'm willing to say Nanjo, and I'm willing to actually take a punt on the culprit select. Patla? Nothing suspicious was found inside the dining hall. Dr. Nanjo checked their pulse, then he announced that the 2 of them had died instantly. We also sealed the dining hall in the same way. Anyone other than George and Nikki could have killed her for the Fourth Twilight. None of us has an alibi. No master keys exist anymore except the 2 keys on the 2 people who lie dead here. Seventh Twilight, this is proof that Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house. George, Maria, and I couldn't have killed Jessica. So, if he's not the killer, that means that I'm one of those 3. I think Nanjo, I know he's dead, but he's a doctor, right? He can sort it. None of them are saying that the doctor's definitely dead, are they? Let's have a look for that. Let's have a look. No one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. Even I can say for sure that this was an instant death. I suppose that is saying that he's dead. Jessica? We all went outside to look for them. At the very least, George and Isan couldn't have possibly killed Shannon. Goda-san and Kumasawa-san are both dead. I'm gonna go for it. Let's see what happens if we get it wrong, is it? I might have got it right, but you never know. But culprit select. Oh, I don't wanna. Okay. Canon I'm suspicious of because he just ran off, but they said he was dead in purple, so that's... Nanjo, come on then. Ooh. You can select multiple! Oh no, that makes it even worse. Come on. He does the point as if he's Phoenix Wright. How can we know for sure that someone isn't the culprit? One of the rules is that the culprit can't die. In other words, though it might sound cruel, we can trust anyone who's dead. It's just saying I'm wrong. That makes it easy. Almost all the characters were killed. So we can trust the purple of all those people. But it isn't quite that simple. That's what I was thinking, actually. There's the issue of people playing dead, which popped up so often even in our games. The bodies of all victims were examined, were they not? Nanjo even said with the purple that no one would make a mistake when examining bodies. If Dr. Nanjo is the culprit, then we can't even rely on that. At a glance, it may look as though all the victims were examined, but all confirmations of their deaths are in purple statements. We can't be 100% sure. Then whose death can we be sure about? Let's check all the examinations over again. Let's look for someone who can be absolutely certain is dead in some way more reliable than those purple statements. What's that? Look for someone who we can be absolutely certain is dead in some way more reliable than those purple statements. I'm finding this hard. Okay. I don't think there's anything in Natsui's that's going to be a hint, really. It's clear that no one's hiding. I don't think anything there either. I know the hiding part, but we know that. I don't know. I know I'm saying that a lot. Can we get any more hints out of it? We can. I've got it. Battler, it's the narrated parts. We've been told that there are no lies in the narrated sections. I just realised that too. Ben Castle announced in red that there are no lies in the narration. Oh, looks like they figured it out. They wouldn't get anywhere if they didn't. Are there any deaths confirmed by the narration? That would mean we can say for sure that the person in question is dead. And that automatically means they aren't the culprit. And on top of that, it means we can trust their purple. Let's look for deaths that are mentioned in the narration. Ones that aren't vague about whether the person is alive or dead, like X was lying on the ground. Okay, let's read through it once more from the start. Okay. As narration, they mean we can look in purple and what they're saying, yeah? So if we try that. Okay, nothing there, nothing there. We all went outside to look for them. At the very least, George couldn't possibly have killed Shannon. Goda and Kumasawa are both dead. Okay, so that's those two out. Goda and Kumasawa down the bottom right. 4 cousins of Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goda and Kumasawa. He's dead, he's just been killed. Maria Battle and I couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo. Alright, so we can trust that those two are dead. George, what are you going to say? I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead. Fourth Twilight. That's the Fourth Twilight. That's the mother and father, isn't it? That not mother and father, but the two adults. That's an instant death. So we know Nanjo's not dead, so I guess I was wrong in the first place. Jessica probably died instantly. So yeah, Jessica's dead, so Nanjo and Jessica, that's both of them gone. I don't know if I'm even doing this the right way. Two of them had died instantly on the Second Twilight, so yeah, that's them two. That's Mitsui and Goda out of the way. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, was that Shannon and Kanan? Was that one? Oh, Christ. Two people who died here, Fifth and Sixth Twilight. Okay. Maria. All of the victims died instantly. So those 6 are definitely dead. They're all in the red, so it makes sense. Okay. Window seal now, everything's locked up perfectly. They're all saying there's no way she could live through this, but that's not saying she is dead, or the 3 of us couldn't have killed Jessica. But the doctor was already dead by then, so Jessica could technically still be alive because none of them are professionals. I'm gonna try it. I am gonna try it. I'm sorry if this gets tedious, me just playing about and checking it out. I don't know. He didn't seem confident. Battler, look. The narration clearly says that Nanjo was killed on the Seventh Twilight. I found one too. On the Eighth Twilight, the narration clearly mentions Jessica's gruesome corpse. So in other words, the 2 I picked are definitely dead. Nanjo and Jessica are definitely dead, yeah. That means we've proven that Nanjo and Jessica aren't culprits. And that means all their purple statements are the same as red truth. Indeed, that's right. The pair gave each other a high five. Finally they had found their first big clue. A safe slice on the roll with a needle in it. They had discovered some purple statements that they could trust. I'll look through that again now. Let's try writing out Nanjo's and Jessica's purple statements. These are the same as red truth. We're finally getting somewhere. If we're sure that Dr. Nanjo isn't the culprit, his purple statement for the First Twilight, no one's going to mistakenly confirm a death, even those other than myself, becomes very important. Okay. In other words, no one will make any mistakes when confirming deaths. So anytime Dr. Nanjo or Jessica confirms a death, we can be absolutely sure that is true. So anyone whose death was confirmed by Nanjo and Jessica cannot be the culprit. Okay. Uh-oh. Looks like they're moving along. It's strange. I find it annoying that they're making progress, but if they did get stuck, that would just be boring. Okay, let's check their examinations and find some more characters who can't be the culprit. Indeed. Alright. Jessica and Nanjo. I've got to be right. Nanjo. Okay. I confirm both their deaths. There can be no doubt that they died instantly. Who's it talking about in the Second Twilight? Confirmed her death. Who died in the Fourth Twilight? It's saying just her. Okay. Judged by these wounds, Goda-san and Kumasawa-san died instantly. So we know it's not those 2 servants down the bottom right. I think also that means that she didn't die. She died, so Shannon is out of it. Kanan might be in it. I found at the window and we made sure that no one would be able to enter our lives. We all went outside to look for them. At the very least, George and Isan couldn't possibly have killed Shannon. Goda-san and Kumasawa. So okay, George isn't the killer then, yeah? Goda and Kumasawa are both dead. 4 cousins of Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goda or... 4 cousins, so there's no one of the kids. Or Kumasawa-san couldn't have done it. Yeah. Maria, Battler, George and I all couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo. Maria, Battler, George and I. Yeah, the 4 cousins. So there's no one of them cousins. I think Canon. I'm really suspecting Canon. I'm going for that this time. He's giving us hints every time, even if we're wrong, so... No. Because he just disappeared and made us suspicious. Battler, I've finished checking Nanjo's and Jessica's purple statements. People whose deaths were confirmed by those two are definitely dead, and that means they can't be culprits, which in turn increases the number of purple statements we can trust. Let's start with Dr. Nanjo. He confirmed the deaths of the victims in the Second Twilight, Kraus and Natsui. Then on the Fourth Twilight, he also confirmed Shannon's death. On the 5th and 6th, he confirmed Goda and Kumasawa. The number of innocent people has skyrocketed. In addition to Nanjo and Jessica, we now know that Kraus, Natsui, Shannon, Goda, and Kumasawa cannot be culprits. That's not all. On the 4th Twilight, Burncastle announced Kanon-kun's death with the Red Truth. The culprit can't die, so Kanon-kun isn't the culprit either, right? Nanjo, Jessica, Kraus, Natsui, Shannon, Kanon, Goda and Kumasawa. All 8 of them are not the culprit. Oh. All of a sudden they now have 8 suspects less. It's only natural that they'd make it this far. This is where it really begins. Now the number of purple statements we can trust has grown tremendously. We're really getting into the thick of it. Yeah. Let's check through the purple statements of the characters we've just proven innocent. I'm just going to guess another person and get another hint out of it, I think. So they said Goda and Natsui are both dead, yeah? Goda, what about him, that servant? I can't remember him being mentioned that much. Oh shit, he died in the first 6, didn't he? Shit. Kraus, Natsui, Shannon, Kanon, Goda, Kumasawa. I've looked through the purple statements for all the people who were just proved innocent. Yeah. And as a result, we've proven that Genji-san isn't the culprit. After the First Twilight, Kanon announces in a purple statement that he confirmed Genji's death. That clears Genji of suspicion as well. So now a total of 9 people have been proven innocent. Things are getting pretty well. Alright. Looks like Shannon's and Kumasawa's purple statements confirm that the 6 people of the First Twilight all died. We shouldn't accept those so easily. Why not? We can trust Shannon's and Kumasawa's statements, can we not? Yeah, right. If you're sure they aren't culprits, why can't you trust their purple statements? Kumasawa-san, for example, only said they were lying there covered in blood, so it's not clear whether they were alive or dead. We can't call this a perfect examination of the 6 victims. Shannon speaks of those 6 in a different way. She says each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents. In the dining hall, that means George and Ikki, Maria and I each examined our own parents. However, we haven't proven yet that any of those 3 are innocent. I get it. Shannon's words prove that the children confirmed each of the 6 deaths in the dining hall, but they don't prove that the examinations those kids performed were legitimate. That's it. Since we can't deny the possibility that the kids are lying, we still can't remove all 6 people in the dining hall from suspicion. How troublesome. Those 3 are the survivors who live until the end. Since they are alive, that makes it impossible to prove that they aren't culprits. Battler, George and Maria. While these survivors are very likely to be culprits, it's probably also hardest to prove them innocent. At any rate, looks like those 9 are the only ones whose innocence we can be sure of thanks to their confirmed deaths. From here on out, it'll be just pure reasoning based off the purple statements of the 9 we can trust. Nanjo, Jessica, Kraus, Natsui, Shannon, Kanon, Goda, Kumasawa and Genji. All we can do is read through their purple statements once more. Nanjo, Jessica, Kraus. Things are going to get hard starting now. Let's steel ourselves and take a shot at it. Indeed. It's finally starting to feel like a real mystery. Oh god. Let's check in to see if there are actually any more. If there are more. I'm just going to keep going with these. Hey Bido, I found something interesting. In this chain of crimes, master keys can never be used. Come to think of it, the group of 9 innocent people includes all 5 servants, doesn't it? Only the servants can use master keys. They can't hand them over to someone else. And since people who aren't culprits themselves can't assist culprits, the master keys can't be used for crimes. Since it's been guaranteed that all 5 servants are innocent, we know that the master keys have nothing to do with the crimes. That's right. And that makes this even more troublesome, correct? All these closed room murders. Every one of them must be constructed without any master keys. No. Spin the chessboard around. This just means that they can all be constructed with tricks that don't involve master keys. I see. So we have the First Twilight, the closed room of the dining hall, the Second Twilight, Natsui's closed room, and starting with the Fifth Twilight, the closed room of the guest house. It seems we must look closely through those again. Let's read it through once more carefully. All the servants are innocent. Master keys can't be used. Let's think through it again with that in mind. I'm going to carry on getting hints. Maybe I'll knock someone else out. I think I have a theory about the closed room of the First Twilight. Let's hear it. The corpse examinations of the victims in the First Twilight still aren't certain. In other words, what if one of them was really the culprit? They killed the other 5, locked in the dining hall from the inside and played dead. True, they could create a closed room without using master keys that way. That leaves us with a problem though. What problem? Remember? When we were talking about the Second Twilight, Berncastle said this with a red truth. The culprit of the First Twilight really did kill 6 people. And now to mention it, because of that red, it seems all 6 people in the dining hall were dead after all. So how did someone lock the dining hall from the outside without using a key? Hey Battler, does that red truth really confirm the deaths of all 6 people in the dining hall? Well, doesn't it? In that case, the 6 in the dining hall were all innocent, and excluding Genji, whose innocence has already been confirmed, we can remove 5 more people from the list of suspects, yes? In other words, 9 plus 5 is 14 have been proved innocent. There are only 3 left. Either Battler, George or Maria is the culprit. Wait a second. There's something about this that's bugging me. That red truth did say that the culprit killed 6 people. However, she didn't say that red right after the First Twilight. I believe she said it back when we were talking about the Second Twilight, yes? I'd like to read through that bit again. Let's search. Feels like that was a strange time for her to say it. Not bad. Can't underestimate these 2. Even their instincts are sharp. Okay, I'm going to guess at one more. It could be one of the people who died in the first place. The first 6. We know it's not Genji. Eva, she's an evil bitch. But then we've seen that Rudolph and Kyrie can be evil gits too, so we'll go for Eva for now. Nope. Another hint coming. I've been thinking about the Second Twilight's closed room, but no matter how many times I try, I keep ending up with the same theory. You mean someone killing the pair of them, then locking the door from the inside and hiding? Yes. Since the master keys can't be used, the door must have been locked from the inside. So it only makes sense if the culprit was hiding somewhere in Natsui's room. Right. That's weird. It says this in the narration. No matter how much time passed, Kraus and Natsui were the only ones who didn't return. And then it continues. Everyone headed to Kraus's and Natsui's rooms together. If Kraus and Natsui were the only ones who didn't return, that implies that everyone else did return to the parlour. That's right. If the criminal locked themselves in Natsui's room after committing the crime, they shouldn't have been able to return. And yet, everyone except the victims did return. That would make this crime impossible for all the survivors. So maybe we really should follow up on your theory of someone in the dining hall surviving and committing crimes later. Come to think of it, when I mentioned that theory, I was hit with a red truth. My theory was that someone in the dining hall was alive and killed Kraus and Natsui. That theory was countered by this red. The culprit of the First Twilight really did kill 6 people. Well, that red's hardly surprising. After all, the culprit went on to kill Kraus and Natsui, so they've killed a total of not just 6, but 8 people. Hold on. They went on to kill Kraus and Natsui, which means... What does that mean? Okay, not Eva, but her husband, Hideyoshi? Nah, I've never seen him as anything but nice. I've got it. We've been fooled. I know what she meant by saying the culprit killed 6 people. What do you mean, you know what she meant? Explain yourself. The culprit of the First Twilight really did kill 6 people. If she'd said this right after the First Twilight, I probably wouldn't have found anything odd about it. However, since she said it after the Second Twilight, a new possibility shows itself. You don't mean that the 6 people who were killed includes the murders of the Second Twilight? That's what I was thinking, yeah. That's it. The culprit really was hiding among the 6 in the dining hall. Later on, they snuck out of the dining hall, killed the two people in Aunt Natsui's room, locked the door from the inside, and hid somewhere in the room. The culprit could only have killed 5 people at most in the dining hall. However, if we add on the victims of the Second Twilight, they would definitely have killed at least 6 times. I see, now it all adds up. You can construct the closed rooms of both the First and Second Twilights without using master keys. Oh, you'd think so, but that reminds me of something else. Aunt Natsui's room was sealed immediately afterwards. Yeah, come to think of it, Lady Brincastle used the Red Truth to say this. The group sealed the room at the same time they left. No culprit joined the group as they left. And she also said this. All the seals will not be broken. In other words, the culprit's trapped in a closed room again. That theory might explain the First and Second Twilights. However, the culprit would be sealed inside Aunt Natsui's room, unable to leave. And that means they wouldn't be able to carry out the Fourth Twilight and onwards. I thought it was such a nice theory, but I guess it's wrong. I don't think we're wrong about this theory, but maybe it just needs some more tweaking. Okay, we'll try another person. It might be more than one person, it might be where I'm going wrong, it might, and why I can't understand. Rudolph? Oh, Christ. Come on, let me guess right. No, it does work. There's no problem if the culprit gets sealed up. Not as long as there's a second culprit. There are going to be 2. Multiple culprit theory. Yes, that does seem to be the only way. That way, even if one culprit's sealed up, the other can continue murdering. If you think about it, our theory needed an accomplice from the very beginning. In the First Twilight, Aunt Eva, Uncle Hideyoshi, that old bastard Kyrie-san, and Aunt Rosa, in other words, everyone who hasn't been confirmed innocent, had their deaths confirmed by people who also haven't been confirmed innocent. Unless those people were fellow culprits, no one would have been able to play dead. You're right. After all, the rules say that only culprits can cooperate with other culprits. Culprits are capable of lying even before they commit murder. So we have ourselves a theory. The culprit who carried out the First Twilight murders also carried out the second, then locked themselves up in Natsui's room. Then the other culprit, who lied about the first culprit's death, carried on with the murders starting at the Fourth Twilight. It all matches up that way. So which of them was it? Fortunately, so far, any one of them could be a culprit. However, we can say for sure that the crime wasn't committed by a single person. And we know that the culprit locked up in Natsui's room was one of those 5 victims in the dining hall. Okay, so one of them is one of the first deaths. We also know that the person who continued with the crimes was one of those who inspected the 5 suspicious corpses on the First Twilight. One of those who inspected the 5 suspicious corpses. That would be Battler George or Maria. We know that one of those 3 committed the murders later on. Excellent. Let's focus on those 3 and find the truth about those later crimes. Okay, so I'll carry on guessing in case I do incidentally come across it. So it's going to be one of those 3 kids and somebody who died originally. So we'll go for... It could be shocking, but we're going to go for... Ooh. What about mother and daughter? That would be interesting. We were told already, weren't we, that Maria wouldn't be able to kill. The next crime is the Fourth Twilight. Shannon-chan was the one killed. No one has an alibi, with one exception. George. Jessica, who has been confirmed innocent, used the purple text to say that it was impossible for George to kill Shannon. So doesn't that mean either Battler or Maria must have killed her? I'd like to think that, but it's too soon to be sure. Battler, Maria, and every other person except George lacks an alibi. I've managed to prove that the crime wasn't committed by a single person, but I didn't prove that there were exactly 2 culprits. Oh, Christ. At this point in time, it's still too soon to be sure. I see. There might be a culprit for the First and Second Twilights, a culprit who lied about the first culprit's death, and another completely separate culprit as well. It was a mistake to overlook that. The murder of Shannon-chan was possible for anyone, with only one single exception. Also, that fact alone isn't enough to prove that George Umineko is innocent. I thought this would be an easy one since there's no closed room. But on the contrary, we have no suspicious circumstances and no information to lead us to the culprit. The pace of the crimes picks up starting here. Instead of getting stuck on this one part, we should start taking a look at the Fifth Twilight too. So it could be 3 people. Jesus Christ, man. I don't have a clue. Battler would be a shock. What about him and his parents? He didn't make a weird face. He didn't make a weird face. We did it. It was rude. It was Battler and his parents. But it's cracked. So, we're going to end things off there. And we'll find out more about it next time. That's genuinely exciting. We finally made it. Oh my god, I'm sorry if that was tedious when we guessing and trying to figure it out. Whew. I just thought it would be a shock if the main character and his parents, who in the last arc we saw as right twats, you know, who went around killing everyone and having the most selfishness amongst everyone, surprisingly, I think. Yeah, oh my god. We'll find out, yeah, we'll find out more next time. This has been Greeny XI. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you again in a bit when we check out what's going to happen next and how they explain things away. Oh my god. See you again in a bit.